going on, everybody, and welcome back to the podcast. How's it going? It's your girl, Shelly Nicole, with Drinks After Work. Hope everybody had a great weekend. My weekend was boring. Yep. Had a boring weekend, mainly because I was sick. I had a head cold. I'm telling you, working where I work, it's just, ugh. You come across so many people, and it's just like, people don't know how to cover their mouths. They don't know how to just be genuine people by not sneezing and coughing and doing the things that they do. So I ended up getting a cold, and somehow I guess it's spreading around the entire airport at this point. So yeah, I had a head cold, and I guess you could kind of still hear it. It's not too bad right now, but it's bad enough to where, like, you have a cold in the summertime. It's just like terrible. But I enjoyed just relaxing and chilled out. I was supposed to go to a pool party with one of my friends, and she was just like, you better come with me. You better come with me the 17th for our parties. I was like, okay, fine. So I'm going out with her then. And then I was supposed to go with my friend also to another party in the city, but again, didn't happen because I just wasn't going to get myself even more sick. I'm the type of person that if I'm sick, even at work, like, I put a mask on because I don't want to make everybody else sick, knowing that something's already going around. So, like, why, add to it? So I just stayed my ass in the house, really cleaned up. I just really, like, just spruced up my place. I'm, like, starting to do a lot more interior decorating. Like, I put up my the picture that I bought from at home, 2 of them actually. I put them up with the help of my father on FaceTime because I didn't want to mess it up. And then just also thinking of other things that I want to buy, like, as the holiday season is starting to come. Summertime is almost over, which is crazy because this is technically the last month of summer. If you want to, you can add September, but not so many people do. The kids are going back to school already, and yeah, this year just flew by, like, literally flew by. And I feel like every year it goes by faster and faster. So I kind of just started to think of ideas of how I wanted to decorate my house, get more of my aesthetic. My house is really like black, white, silver, a little touch of gold here and there too, but not too much. So I'm kind of like trying to keep that whole aesthetic going, and we'll see what happens as the time goes on. But today's episode is about and I asked this question with a few of the guys that I work with, but I also posed the question when I put it on my Instagram. And if you're not following the Instagram, it's Drinks After Work _podcast_. And I normally put, like, polls up of what you guys want to talk about and any questions that you guys may have as far as the next topic goes. And this was the one that everyone kind of wanted to talk about, was being masculine, or being too masculine as a woman. Now, I'm going on live later tonight to hear everybody else's ideas and stories and what they feel like, and mostly men. So, gentlemen, whenever I have these episodes, I really want you guys to tune in and really speak your piece, because a lot of the times you guys say, oh, you guys always like to have men bash, and you always like to say these things. I don't men bash on this show. This show is not about man bashing. It's simply trying to understand the male thinking and the male perspective on things, and trying to come together and figure out, okay, so how do we go around this and how do we fix it, by not only you taking accountability, but for us to also take accountability as women wherever we may lack in certain areas, because that's the only way things are going to change. At least that's how I see it. But a lot of guys did vote for this topic of women being too masculine nowadays, and it being such a turnoff for men now, like, where they're seeing so many women just being extremely, guys have said strong, and made it, like, way too strong for them to want to even, like, consider a relationship with them. And it's, I understand why some men will feel the way that they feel as far as, you know, us as women being a little too masculine, but I also feel like a lot of it comes from choices that we really didn't have to pick from. Or choices that we really didn't have to choose from, if I'm being honest. And I feel like a lot of women will agree with this, in a sense of what has probably been in some of our past relationships in our family, and how we've seen our mothers go through relationships, how we've seen friends and family members go through relationships, how we personally have gone through relationships, and we're just within life, how we had to literally be the backbone, if you will, about everything that pertains a relationship, or just pertains getting shit done. Let's just call it what it is. Having to get shit done, we always having to feel like we have to step in our masculinity, because some of you men, and you're not going to like this, but some of you men lack doing that. As far as stepping into what we're okay with you doing, we want you to do. Maybe you are fearful of doing it. Maybe you don't know how to do it. You don't ask the right questions for the people who can help you to do it. It's a lot. It's a lot, and I can't wait for the live tonight to actually figure this out. So hopefully you guys do tune in to the live, and you guys are able to say your piece about actually how you feel about it. So women, please don't kill me when I say this, but women with too much masculine energy might find themselves in competition, if you will, not just with others, but with themselves. Kind of like striving for achievements, and that, like, bring them joy. Relationships may suffer, and as the warmth of the connection is overshadowed by the need for control or the inability to show vulnerability, that's when the conflict really comes into play. I really also feel that there's like so many reasons as to like how this can happen, and how, from what I've heard from men, and I've written all this down. Like I say, I always tell you, I write things down. I don't just talk out the side of my ass all the time. But I write things down just to know exactly what it is, and wanting to hear and take the advice of what men are saying and what they actually want to talk about, which again I hope they do tonight on the live, about how, what it really feels like, I guess, for men to see women fall into this masculine energy. One thing that guys have said is that you're always in competition mode when dealing with a masculine woman. It always feels like he has to outdo you, and in all actuality, he doesn't want to do that. He wants to just be your provider. He wants to be your safe place. When someone brought this one particular thing of being in competition, I had to tell him that I don't think it's more so a competition. It's just getting shit done. That for a lot of us, we have given men the opportunity to get shit done and to show their masculinity and show their manlyhood in getting whatever it is that needed to happen, whether it's making a date arrangements, whether it's doing something around the house, whether it's paying a bill, whether it's taking the car to get fixed, whatever it is, cooking, cleaning, anything. Because it doesn't always necessarily have to be the woman cooking. It doesn't always necessarily have to be the man, taking the car to get done either. But that's a whole nother topic about gender roles. It's more so of a fact of we get tired of having to ask you 24 million times to get something done. Sorry for the loud noise if you hear all that. They're doing something on the fire escape. I don't know what the fuck they're doing. But yeah, that was what I had to say to him when he had mentioned that. Like, you know, I guess he had said that he felt often that he always had to be in competition with a woman when it came to anything that she was doing or anything that she was, you know, wanting him to do. It always felt like she had to one up him. I said, well, then maybe it's because you're not doing enough for her standards. And in my thing is too, as women, we should at least give you guys our standards and know exactly what it is that we want. And if this is something that you cannot do, instead of just being in competition with you, for me, I'm going to fall back. Either I'm going to get it done. I'll get it done in the beginning, but then after a while, I'm going to fall back because it's just like, okay, you know what? I feel like I'm doing everything, and no one ever wants to feel like they're having to just be the only ones to make the moves or having to, you know, initiate anything. That can really become very exhausting, for real. The next thing that someone has said is that women often struggle to express their emotions when they become too masculine. Now, I guess this also is a two-sided conversation, if you want to say that. Because often we tell guys, like, you know, be vulnerable, speak, say how you really feel, talk about what it is that's bothering you. And I feel like when we also say that struggling to express your emotions becomes a manly thing, like, it shouldn't be a thing. It shouldn't be a manly thing. It shouldn't be a womanly thing. I feel like if you have something to say it. And it does not have to be rude either. You can say how you feel, and you can open your mouth and articulate yourself about what's bothering you and what it is that you need for someone to fix, or what it is that they're not doing correctly. If you just speak to them just like this, like how I'm talking to you now. Like, hey, listen, so this thing that you're doing, right? It bothers me, and I need you to stop doing that. And if the answer or the question to them is, or if they ask you, like, well, what do you mean? Like, what am I doing? You can articulate yourself and say that, okay, when you, I don't know, I'm just throwing something out there. When you hang up the phone without saying I love you, that bothers me. And expressing to them why it bothers you. It makes me feel unappreciated. It makes me feel like you're just taking this for granted. It makes me feel this way. It makes me feel that way. Whatever the case is, don't shun them out either. Just hear them out and let them tell you and express to you exactly what it is. I think when going back to this statement of women struggle to express their emotions when they become too masculine, I think also women are afraid now, especially today with the dating pool the way it is. I think a lot of women are scared to express themselves because they don't want, we're starting to feel like we're not being heard and our vulnerability is being taken for granted, if that makes any sense. And I don't want us to get to that space, but I myself find myself getting to that space also, where I don't know if I want to open up and say much. And I'm not like a open book. I don't give all of my information. I don't like, tell everybody all of my business. But I feel like if I like you and we're vibing, and after a while I feel a connection coming, yeah, of course I'm going to open up to you. But I also see where a lot of women now are just moving off of less emotion and more logic, because they're realizing that regardless of how we express ourselves emotionally, some men are not going to appreciate it or hear it. And I think that's where this person who had mentioned this, the woman being emotionalist now is starting to become very scary and very, I don't know, like, it's not happening as much as we thought it would. Like, a lot of women just don't want to express ourselves anymore. We're tired of constantly having to show emotions to guys, and they're just like, yeah, I feel you and I understand and and then like it goes in one ear and out the other, and it's just like, okay, so what did I just say all this for? Like, for nothing. So I think that's where a lot of this struggling to express themselves becomes a very masculine. The next thing that guys have said is that the overwhelming need to control everything. I am guilty of doing this. I have done this in the past, and I literally told myself after my last relationship that I was never going to do that again. When I tell you, like, I always speak about my last relationship, and why I speak about it so much is because it taught me so much. And it taught me a lot about myself and about what I was accepting and what I was accepting even though I wasn't accepting it, if that makes sense. Like, I was being okay with certain things that I just was not okay with, and finally putting my foot down to say, okay, you know what, Michelle, enough. Like, we're not doing this. So the need to constantly control everything, I think, also comes from the fear of things not working out in the way that we expected to and the way that we wanted to. I always controlled things because I felt like, again, if he's not doing it, clearly he's not doing it. He's not making any plans for us to go on dates. He's not making any plans for us to take any trips or whatever the case may be. So hell, I'm going to do it because I like to plan anyway. Realizing that I need to take a step back and allow the man to just, you do it. Go ahead. You plan the date. You plan out what it is we're going to do for this weekend. And of course I can do it. Of course I can just come up with a plan and just say, okay, we're going to go to this restaurant, or we're going to go rock climbing, or we're going to go to the indoor racetrack, or we're going to go to a shooting range. I can come up with things off the rip, off the back. Like, what do you want to do? What are you feeling for? You want to just stay in the house and watch some movies and we get some food, or I make something? Like, what do you want to do? It's easy for us to just come up with things, and it becomes draining. We really do hate doing it. We don't like constantly having to come up with plans. And I feel like I said, the need to control everything is just out of fear that things just won't get done. And is that really a us problem, or is that more of a you problem, men? And I'm really seriously asking this question. Like, is it really a us thing, or is it a you thing? And are you not taking accountability as men that, shit, maybe I need to step up. Maybe I need to show her, like, yeah, I'm serious about this. Maybe I need to tell her, like, yeah, you're who I want to be with, and this relationship I'm taking serious, and let me show her by planning something and putting something into motion and not just talking about it. The one thing that I think everybody hates is somebody who just talks out the side of their ass and not do anything. I think everybody just hates that. But I feel like a woman who really likes you, a woman who really wants to be with you, wants to see their men lead them in the right direction. And the only way that you can start leading somebody is if you know God. And if you know God, then God will tell you how to lead that woman that you're supposed to be with. And then you'll lead them in the right direction as to where you're supposed to go. If it ain't being led by God, baby, you got to let it go. Like, it is what it is. He got to go. Because it ain't going to go nowhere but south. The next thing that guys have also said was the difficulty in receiving help. I am also guilty of this. I did not like asking for help for, I think, forever. My parents will tell you. Like, I just was not the type of person that was like, hey, I need help with that. I figured it out. I don't care how many times I had to do it. I figured it out. I don't care if I had to read the manual 1,000 times. I was figuring it out. So I think, again, it just comes from a place of not needing you as men, knowing that we do need you. Like, we do need you. We need, as much as we not like to say, as much as we've been programmed, because let's be for real, we have been programmed to say we don't need a man. It's a safe space for us to say that, because it makes us feel like we can get the job done and everything will be okay because we're just going to do it and it's nothing wrong with it, and we can pat ourselves on the back like, good job, girl, you did it, on to the next thing. But in all actuality, if we're being serious with ourselves, ladies, please, let's be for real with ourselves. It's sad and it's exhausting. That feeling of not having to turn to a man that, and I'm not talking about just any man, like just anyone. I'm talking about the person who you actually like, the person who you actually are in love with, that you can't even turn to them and be like, hey, can you help me with X, Y, and Z? It makes you kind of feel like, well, damn, what am I doing here? Like, well, what are you really here for? If I can't come to you and ask you for help, what is it that you are really here for? And again, gentlemen, I ask you this question. And this is why I'm glad that I'm going to have this live tonight. I ask you this question, gentlemen. Is that an us problem or is that a you problem? Are you not able, have you failed us in the sense of not being able to give us the help that we need because you just clearly don't want to? Or because you just don't care to? Because you can just like honestly not, and maybe you don't even know how to do it. Let's just say that too. Maybe you just don't know how to do it. But instead of just saying, I don't know how, let's figure it out together. That's better than just saying no or not saying anything at all and just saying, well, fuck it, figure it out on your own. It's more of a, I guess, a turn on if you want to say, like, girls, women, we appreciate that more if you just say, well, I don't know how to do this, babe, but like, hell, let's do it together because I'm not even sure. But the next time this happens, I got it. Now I know what to do because we did it together and you ain't got to worry about it next time. Or phoning a friend. Like, you can phone a friend. You can even have someone like, whatever. I mean, it literally, it doesn't take that much for it to get done. I just think that as women, we are, as men, as you guys have said, it being difficult to receive help when we are so used to having to do everything on our own. It's not easy for us to just go around and asking, hey, can you help me with this? Can you help me with that? Because we've been let down before when it comes to needing someone to help us, needing a man to help us. And they give us the bare minimum, if not less than that. This next one I thought was actually kind of funny. When I heard a guy say that we tend to prioritize logic, or we need to prioritize logic over intuition. Now, sweetheart, baby, God gave us this gift specifically so that we can know when you're bullshitting us. To know when things are not right. To know when you are lying to our face. You don't have intuition. I mean, you have maybe like a little, a little gut feeling, a little something like, this may not feel right. 9 out of 10 times y'all ignore it. And I'm not going to sit here and say that we always listen to it either, because we don't. My intuition, specifically just me, no. My intuition is like the annoying neighbor that if you're playing a loud music keeps knocking at that damn door until you turn it down. That is my intuition. My intuition will not stop if I know, or it knows, or the universe knows something, I don't know, knows that something's not right. I don't know how many times where I have been in relationships or just talking to a guy, dating them, and the moment something was off, that stomach gut feeling was like, nope, something's not right here, and I don't know what it is, but I know something's about to happen, and I know that it's not going to be good. And every single time, I kid you not, every single time I was right. Something was off. I didn't know exactly what it was, but it always ended up being something that they were doing, cheating, or lying, or whatever the hell it may have been. And I was right. Of course, as men, you're going to say that because you guys are more logical, we're more emotional. But it's not easy for us to just go off of logic rather than going off our emotions and what our intuition is telling us, because our intuition was basically designed to keep us from falling into pits of this, I guess, I don't even know like what to call it, but it's just basically like giving us a warning to let us know like, hey, you need to get out, you need to get out, you need to move, you need to fix this, you need to do something, because it was basically telling us like, you know, we're not safe. Where we think we are, we're not safe. And it doesn't have to be like, you know, a dangerous thing like, you know, life or death, but it's not what we thought it would be, and not how we're processing it is not exactly how it is. So I guess in a sense I guess that is being too masculine if we're thinking logically and not with our intuition. But I mean, why is that an issue? I don't know. Again, like, you know, this is why I'm doing the live, because these are questions that I'm really going to ask. So I'm just like, the last thing that someone actually said was neglecting self-care and wellness. So this guy had said this because he said that the woman that he was talking to at the time, she was very much so, you know, was doing all of this, wasn't emotionally there, struggled to say how she really felt, a lot of controlling going on in the relationship, a lot of being stressed, being burnt out. Their relationship didn't last that long because she was just giving so much of the same energy that was too masculine for him. And that's not to say that it was a positive thing either, because it was masculine. It was just certain traits that she was doing that he just was not a fan of. And she ended up neglecting like herself as well. Like, she always had to do things to like she didn't prioritize herself basically. And eventually it got to him like, you know, why aren't you, and it sounds like it's like a douche ass answer to say, but she was always working out, and then she stopped working out. She kind of, in his eyes, she let herself go. She wasn't getting her nails done and her hair done. Like, everything that she was doing in the beginning of their relationship, she had stopped doing. And she wondered why, like, or he had wondered why it had gotten like this, and what did he do to cause for this to happen. And I had said to him, like, well, what are you, like, are you not helping her out? Like, are you not really being there? Or like, what is it that you have to take an evaluation as to see what it is that's causing her to be and to step into this masculine, as he said it, this masculine era that you're not liking right now. What are you lacking right now that you are not helping her in a place where she needs to be helped? So he kind of went back and kind of did, you know, the work himself to see what it is that he could have changed and what he could have done differently. But I do feel like, in some senses, us as women, we've been taught to remain masculine and to stay in our masculinity because we're scared. I feel like a lot of us are scared. I'm scared, shit. I'll be honest. I'm scared to be vulnerable again. I'm scared to just let my emotions out. I've done it too many times for me to want to do it again. But I also feel like it won't be fair to the person who I'm supposed to be with, to the man that I'm supposed to marry, who I'm supposed to love and really genuinely be in a relationship with. I feel like it won't be fair to him, but I do feel like that's also why God has called me to just, Michelle, I need you to be single for a while. I need you to just focus on me and focus on you and focus on what it is you need to do, because your heart is starting to get real hard, and I need you not to get that way, because the person who I have for you, he needs that softness. And I'm trying my hardest. I'm trying my hardest to not step back into my old ways, which were somewhat masculine, because of I always needed to control everything. I always needed to do everything on how I needed it to happen. I needed to plan everything. And knowing that I don't want to do it, sitting in my soft woman era when I, after my 2-year relationship ended and I was dating again, and being in that soft woman era and seeing what I got out of it, I loved it. Girl, I loved it. I never want to go back to that, because it's like, I don't mind being submissive to a man who's going to do the things that I simply ask for. And if I can just sit here and be that soft woman, and I feel like a lot of men don't understand that either, you bring that out of us, and it's in us, not in all of us. It's in most of us, but the rest of us, we have some work to do. But if you bring it out of us, there's no such thing as needing to show our masculinity if you keep us there. Keep us there and bringing it out of us and keeping us there. Where are we going? Why would we go back to that anger and that sadness and that bitterness? And why would we go back to all of that and having to, I got it, you don't need to do it? Why would we do that if you're showing us that we don't have to? If you're there to show me, like, I don't need to do that. All right, cool. I'll stop. I'll submit. Another thing, a lot of guys have always said, I want my woman to submit to me. I want her to submit. I want her to submit. What am I submitting to? Just off the strength that you're a man? I'm not going to submit to you just because you're a man or you're a boy. I'm just saying. Some of y'all are boys. Some of y'all are not men. I'm just saying. But the growth has to come from both sides. Literally. You cannot want a woman to submit to you when you're not giving her nothing to submit to. Oh, I go to work. I come home. Okay. And so do I. I go to work and I come home. Now what? I'm still supposed to submit to you? No. Like, there's more to it. There's more to it. There's more emotions to it. There's more thought to it. There's more that goes behind, in my eyes, being a man than just the superficial. You have to make me feel comfortable. You have to make me want to say, I don't want to step into this, because if I do step into that, it ain't going to be, it's going to bring me right back to where I already worked so hard to get out of. And I feel like that's what a lot of women are trying to do now. I feel like we're also really trying to just see our toxic traits and see what we need to change. And we're really working and honing in on it. And at least for my circle, I definitely see that with us. Like, we're trying our hardest to, like, break out of old habits and form better ones. But it's so hard because we're constantly seeing men who want our attention, who want to date us, that are not really in the headspace of wanting to change themselves, but wanting a woman who's changed. How does that work? How does that work that you want someone to be this thing that you're like, you have all of these boxes that you want your woman to be, but are you even what you're asking your woman to be? You don't want her to be masculine, but are you able to check off all the boxes of what she's asking for in a man? Are you able to do that to keep her from going into her masculinity, from her not having to jump in and take the reins and do all of the things that, we just talked about? Some of the things that we talked about, because it's like, it was a ton more. Are you able to really do that? Can you sit here and say that I can do this without her having to ask me 5, 6, 7, 8 times to do it? And I think that's what also is an issue too, that we're always having to ask multiple times for it to happen when it doesn't have to be. It doesn't have to be the 6th, 7th time of me asking you that. Because after the 2nd time, I'm just going to do it myself. And then it becomes oh, you don't chill out and you don't let me. I did. I gave you that space to do it, and yet you chose not to do it. So now what? So it's a lot. It's a lot to unpack. It's a lot to, I think, come from it. There's a lot that can come from this conversation. I'm very interested in this conversation tonight. I feel like it's going to be good. I feel like a lot of people are going to be able to say the things that they have to say. And I really hope and pray that these men come onto this live and they really speak their piece about women being too masculine nowadays and in this generation or in this time of dating. Granted, a lot of women just, it's kind of different now because I feel like a lot of women just want to be taken care of. But I also know that there are a lot of us women who, yes, want to be taken care of, but can also bring a lot to the table as well. And it's just a mutual thing of what we're expecting of you is the same thing that you're expecting of us. And it's not clicking. It's not adding up. Like we're bringing more and you're like scooting in and you're just like not, it's just not working. But I'm excited for this conversation tonight. I thank you for listening now. Thank you for listening. And if you guys didn't tune into the live, I'm going to post it anyway. I'm going to post a live on my on the Instagram so you guys can see it. If you guys didn't tune into it, it will be posted. And yeah, I told you guys I'm going to keep these episodes just a little shorter because especially the summertime, everybody's outside, everybody's enjoying themselves, but just getting straight to it and not doing long-winded ones that much. I ain't gonna say never, but not that much. But I thank you guys for listening. I hope you guys have a great night. Don't let today's stress go into tomorrow. Leave it here. I love you guys. Thank you for listening. Later.